I scorched the earth with these hot lines for the millionth time. Fire and brimstone erupting from the microphone.
Welcome to a special championship week episode of Inside the Lines. It's St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. The boys basketball state tournament tips off later this week in Dayton and Fairborn. I was reminded again this morning why people our age start to think about retiring to Arizona and southern Florida, places that don't get an inch of snow and cold, this kind of cold in mid-March.
Yeah, isn't that the truth, man? The roads and the weather, and just when you think you're breaking through and it's time to relax and get that new, warmer, the short sleeve shirts out, the weather breaks on you again. So
you end up driving up 71.
Yeah,
and
right.
You run into a mess up that way.
Exactly. My wife and I were in the midst of that chaos last night on 71, so we're glad we made it home.
Right. Speaking of closing in on retirement, you celebrated a milestone birthday here within the last couple of weeks.
Well,
Hit the big 5-0.
Whoa. Yeah, well, that's it happens. Everybody's got to get there. Blah, blah.
Half 100. Happy belated birthday. I tell you, you and I both had a lot less gray in our beards when we met for the first time 25 years ago.
We did. Sure. We were a lot more spry back then.
Yeah, I think. We're going to talk a lot about basketball. I can't remember the last time. I pretty much retired from basketball, and it's been a few years since I was on a court and actually shot a basket.
Oh, man, long time since I had two good Achilles.
Right.
That's what retired me. A bad Achilles.
This past weekend, the OHSAA had its state tournaments for girls basketball and wrestling. I spent the weekend inside the Schottenstein Center down in Columbus for the wrestling tournament. We produced 4 state champions. Ontario's Aiden Knoll, a guy we had in here a few weeks ago, he won his first state championship. Clear Fork's Anthony Oscar, a sophomore, won his first. Mount Vernon's Ash Brokaw won her second, and Crestvew's Naomi Gearhart won her first one. Zach, we had Aiden in here a few weeks ago, and and we talked about his lineage. When your last name is Ole and you're a wrestler at Ontario High School, buddy, there are some expectations, and he lived up to them.
I'm just glad we didn't have the inside the lines jinx. So,
yeah, that's the truth. Aiden went down, and it was. He's a 4-time state placer. He was finished runner-up as a sophomore. He was third as a junior on basically one leg. It was really good to see. And I tell you what, I caught the photo of him and his dad celebrating in the corner, and you could just see he was letting out a whole bunch of. There was a whole lot of relief coming out of that kid when he finally got to the top of the state podium. I tell you what, Ohio High School. The very best thing they do, and you guys probably have never seen it, but it's the parade of champions for the for the state wrestlers. They shut the lights off in the arena. There's 18,000 seats in the shot, and most of them are filled. And they turn off the lights and they show this video of the highlights from the weekend, and then they march the kids out and they have a fog machine rolling and they got pyrotechnic. They have like flame bursts going off. It's really is a spectacle for those kids, and they wrestlers go largely unnoticed for a lot of the year. It's neat to see that happen, and that wrestling crowd is a knowledgeable bunch. There was a St. Edward's kid who was wrestling for his 4th state title, and he won it, so he was 4 for 4, and the whole place stopped and came to their feet, like the fans know the kids.
Wow.
It's a
Now, do they wrestle multiple matches at one time?
It's called the state tournament, but it's basically 4 state tournaments at once. There's a division. Boys have 3 divisions, so there's a Division 1 mat, a Division 2 mat, a Division 3 mat, and then the girls mat, and they have like each weight class for those divisions going on at the same time.
Wow!
So it's a sight to behold.
That's a pretty unique experience because you can't do 4 basketball games in an arena at the same time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. While that was going on, Zach, you were in Toledo watching Mansfield Senior take on Toledo Central Catholic in the regional finals on Saturday. Tigers fell 81-61 in a game and I'll let you tell it, but it seems like that was a lot more competitive than the final score suggested. I mean, it was tied after one. It was tied deep into the second quarter before the Fighting Irish kind of pulled away.
It was. They were up 9 at the half, I think, which didn't seem insurmountable or anything because they was 25-25, and I think they went on a Irish went on a 5-0 run to start the second quarter. We answered, kind of going back and forth. They had a 8 for 11 from the free throw line in the first half. The Tigers did not shoot a free throw in the first half. So, both teams were kind of shooting about the same. Rebounding, they weren't killing us on the glass. It seemed pretty even, but they definitely pulled away, capitalized on some turnovers in the second half. Their one kid, their 6'7" kid had like 14 rebounds. So, but overall, I mean, I was impressed. It was the first time I was watching this version of the Tigers this year, and I was very impressed with the talent on that squad. And unfortunately, a lot of them play the same position, it seems like.
and Effie, you and I talked about it. I mean, this is a bunch that offensively they are as talented as a group as I can remember for a while, and they were a lot more engaged during this postseason run.
Well, it is the first time, and I know we'll get a chance to talk about it, but it is the first time that Coach Sykes has had a team full of hoopers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
He's for most of his coaching career, he's had good athletes, mostly football players, playing basketball, trying to do the best they can to, be basketball players. And that's legitimately, that's what Mansfield Senior a lot of times is.
Right.
This season, he was blessed with a number of guys that can dribble, shoot, pass, understood the game of basketball. And we don't have a lot of those teams at Mansfield, and I was so proud of Marquise because we see what he was able to do with one of the first classes of kids where he had a group of hoopers on his team. He takes them to the regional final, and yes, we the thing was we were undersized. We just didn't have the size, but he had a bunch of guys that could shoot, dribble, pass, and they had the skill level on that team is unbelievable. And they made the most of it, and they came up short, but that team does have talent, and they just ran up against a team that had just a little bit more, just a higher level of talent, higher level of size, higher level of skill than they did, but they had it all this year.
It's not like it's a group of seniors final run.
Exactly.
There are definitely some good seniors on that team, but a couple juniors. Our guy Kalen, I say that because he was on this podcast, is only a sophomore. So I mean, hopefully that group sticks together and continues to grow together, and we'll be back in the same spot next year. It wouldn't surprise me.
And buddy, everybody knows about that freshman class by now. That's that incoming freshman class. It's they haven't lost in football or basketball, so and F, maybe you have a thought about that. It seems to me like freshmen are more prepared to make an impact on a basketball court than on the football field.
Well, absolutely, and that's the thing. They can. So many times the basketball court, and I don't know how to explain it. The way I've always told it, the way it was told to me by Coach Collins was the lights in the gym are dimmer than the lights in the football field on Friday nights.
Right.
And I've always thought that to be true for freshmen. It's just, not only because the strength and that what comes with the sport, the nature of the sport is just that there's so many things that have to go right for a young player to be able to succeed on the football field, as opposed to the skill level, the things they can practice in so many different all year round, being a basketball player. So young basketball players generally have a lot of success younger than football players, even though we've seen some young football players do well.
Sure.
But a lot of times we see some young basketball players do well, and that can be the case this year with and I've seen some young basketball players a lot around this area have great success. Freshmen and sophomores really do well in this area.
Right. So that was Saturday. Senior high played the night before that in Barberton. Hillsdale punched its ticket to the Division 7 Final Four with a 58-57 edge of your seat number there against Heartland Christian. This one hit a little different for me. I went to Hillsdale. I played at Hillsdale. I was part of a team that reached the regional championship game in 1990. We lost to the late Will Meadows and St. Peter's. Hillsdale coach Ben Ferguson grew up just down the street from me in Hayesville. He was in junior high when that Elite Eight game happened. He was telling me a story the other night about being there. He and I played a lot of pickup games together, at the park in Hayesville and on the playgrounds. I'm sure that is not a unfamiliar story to you too. It's you've spent enough time in the media to know that there's no cheering on press row, but rest assured on Friday when the Falcons take on Kalida in the semifinals. I will be inside. I will be the biggest Falcon fan there is. We are joined by Hillsdale's point guard this evening, and Coach Ben Ferguson's son, Lowen. We appreciate you taking some time here to stop by, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. We got a lot to unpack with Lowen, but before we do that, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsor, with Graham Auto Mall. Whether you're cruising in for a new ride or keeping your current one in top shape, Graham Auto Mall has you covered. Shop a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, or trust their expert service team to keep you on the road. If you're in the market for a vehicle, stop by Graham at 1515 West 4th Street in Mansfield, or visit GrahamAutomall.com. Graham Auto Mall, your hometown dealer. Now, Lowen, let's start with Friday night. I mean, you guys, you had a pretty comfortable lead in the third quarter. I think you led by 10 points in the first half, 8 going into the fourth. Heartland opens the fourth on a 10-2 run and ties it at 46, less than 3 minutes in, and then it's game on after that, right? Is there a sense of panic in a situation like that for you guys, or did you feel pretty comfortable there?
Going into the fourth quarter, we kind of knew a regional final game, they're going to fight back and make it a close game in the end. So we were kind of prepared for that. Obviously, we didn't want it to happen, but when it did, I think we've played a lot of close games this season, so we were prepared for it. Even on that level, I don't think we stressed out, and I think we knew what to do. Right,
and can't underestimate the value of playing. And it's fun as a coach. It's fun to go out and blow everyone out by 30. But playing in close games, there's some benefits to that pays off down the road.
Well, of course, and being able to number one, function in a close game, because some teams can't. Some teams don't know what to do when the game gets tight, and so having that experience helps. But also just the prospect of like, oh my God, the game's getting close. If we lose, we're going home. But you know what I mean?
Right.
It weighs on young players. So Lowen, you as the point guard, is that extra pressure? Is that something that weighs on you as not only in the regular season but in the tournament? What does it mean to you're running the team and the game is in the balance like it was this last game? Do you feel any extra pressure? I know you're a coach's kid, so I know that you're always cool. But what is it like for you in those moments?
It is a decent bit of pressure. My dad trusts me a lot, so he gives me the ball at the end, and having the ball and running the offense is a lot of pressure. Deciding on the right call, deciding who to give the ball to. But overall, I think I've been in that position coming up. Even like started in second grade, I've kind of always been the one running the show for my team, so that I've been in that position a lot, so I think I handle the pressure well.
Right. Now Heartland takes a lead. They're up by 3 with about 2 minutes to go, and Hayden McFadden, a senior, makes, I'm assuming, is the biggest shot of his career. He knocks down a 3-pointer that ties it up. There was some contact. Could have probably been a 4-point play. Wasn't called. Nonetheless, what are you thinking when Hayden lets that thing fly? Are you feeling confident?
I am confident. If he gets his feet set, he's one of the better shooters that I know. He knocks him down all the time in practice, so I knew when he had a clean shot at the top of the key, I knew he should take it. Sometimes he hesitates in those scenarios, but that one, there was no hesitation. He got it, found the ball in the laces, and let it go. So I was really proud of him. That was probably one of the biggest threes in Hillsdale history.
For sure.
So, yeah.
If I see it, I'm doing this job for as long as I've done it. You see it all the time in the regular season. Everybody loves to take that shot.
Right.
But, buddy, when the lights get a little brighter and it's make that shot or go home, now, you would be surprised how many guys catch that ball and move it to the next guy. It's saying something that in a high-leverage situation, you're okay with doing it.
Well, it takes a special player, not only player, but personality and character, and to even take the shot and have the confidence to take it, even if you have made it in the past. But when you have the confidence, number one, and your teammates have the confidence in you. Right. I think that's the most important thing. When your teammates have the confidence in you, coaching staff does. That's really when the shots are made, because I think somebody said a quote I was listening to the other day, like being afraid to miss, is almost worse. It's worse than not taking shots.
Right.
It's the worst thing that you can do is not being afraid to miss. So that's the worst thing for any shooter, is being afraid to miss. So it was great when I actually watched pieces of the game. It's like, here's a young man and a football player again that, and I always loved the two-sport athletes, so I always make sure I mention that. But the confidence he showed with shooting the ball is like, he does it in one sport, he'll do it in another.
Right.
Just a playmaker. So it comes to be expected from young people that are success follows you. And here's a school that goes to the Final Four in both sports.
Yeah. It doesn't happen very often.
So what do you expect?
I say it a lot. It's okay to push all your chips into the middle of the
Absolutely.
table and get beat by a better hand, but it's not anteing up. That's something else entirely.
Yeah, sure.
So Heartland takes a 2-point lead with less than a minute to go, and then you bring the ball up the floor. You find K.O. Lewis underneath the bucket. He ties it up, gets an and one, misses the free throw. But I mean, you guys are back to even. So now Heartland has the ball. It's tied after a couple of timeouts. They're inbounding the ball underneath your guys' basket, and Troy Bennett comes up with probably the biggest steal of his life. You guys call a timeout, and you draw up a play, and we'll let you tell this story because this is a heck of a story. But from what I understand, Dad wanted you to have the ball, and you decided maybe I'm not the best option here.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of basketball, college basketball, and whenever I'm sitting there watching a game and the coach calls a timeout and they have to draw up a game-winning shot, I'm always thinking, what would I do in that scenario for their team? Just put myself in that situation. So when I'm playing, it's kind of easier. So going over to that timeout, I'm thinking, if I'm thinking in their shoes, they're probably thinking I'm getting this ball and I'm going to shoot it. So we have this play where it's kind of a diversion play where you fake the handoff and then you wrap around, and I thought that'd be the perfect play. Fake me on the handoff and have one of our better downhill players and more clutch players get downhill for a open shot.
That's something, huh, Coach?
So you drew up your own play?
Yeah.
Like LeBron did that one time, I think.
Gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, and if you watch the play, I mean, Bennett brings the ball up the floor. He throws it to Lowen on the wing, and then Bennett gets the pass back right at the top of the key, and he's kind of got his back to the bucket. Lowen cuts through. They fake that handoff, and Bennett just turns the corner and basically shoots an uncontested layup for a 2-point lead. I mean, it couldn't have worked any better.
That's next level. That's next level. That's next level thinking right there on the spot.
So now you're ahead. Heartland has no timeouts. They had trouble getting the ball in a couple of different times. They have to rush the ball up the floor, and their best player takes a shot with 0.6 of a second left. Lewis is called for a foul, so this kid's going to the free throw line with a chance to tie it. Makes the first, and then Ben has a timeout in his back pocket, and you can't take it home with you. You might as well give it a shot and try to ice the guy. And sure enough, it worked. He missed that free throw. I mean, when you see that ball? I mean, he kind of left it short, and it clanked and bounced around, and no one ever had control. I mean, what's going through your mind when you see that?
Obviously, I wouldn't have minded going in overtime, but I really right. I was hoping, hey, please just miss this, and we're going to state. So just to see that come up short, it was an unbelievable feeling when I saw that tip, and then the whole celebration started. So it was a surreal feeling.
What's going on in that timeout before that? Before you go, I mean, are you talking about strategy, or is it just let's just cross our fingers and hope this kid misses this time?
There was one main thing that we didn't want to box out too hard and get a foul called on us so they could get back to 2 free throws. That was the main thing, and then really just kind of don't let them tip the ball in, but it all came down to really, hey, if he misses this, we're regional champs. If he doesn't, let's win in overtime.
Right. And I saw, I mean, of course, the bench erupts, the fans go crazy. I saw a picture afterwards where you and your dad were hugging, in the post game. I mean, what's that moment like for? I wish Ben could be here just so he could tell us what it's like as a dad. But I mean, you guys have been doing this for so long together. What's that moment like for you?
Like I told you after the regional semi game, I said if we win that regional, it'll be a super good feeling because me and him have talked about that ever since he's been my coach. Even from second grade when he was my assistant coach, we always talked about how cool it'd be if one day he didn't even know he'd be my coach, but one day if I can make it to state in high school. And we never really thought it was a possibility. We always kind of talked about it like a dream type thing. So for that to come true and just him being a part of it as much as he is, it was probably one of the best feelings in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's dive into that a little. I mean, he's been on the sideline. What's it like playing for Dad? I mean, are you held to a is there a higher standard for a coach's son than there is for some other guys?
Definitely. But I like that standard. He pushes me more than probably any other coach would, and honestly, that's made me better. And it doesn't just stop after practice. I really like driving home with him, just talking about the next game, talking about game planning, talking about what I can do better. So it's nice always having him to talk to, and it honestly makes me better just talking basketball that much with him.
That's got to be a difficult needle to thread, you know. I mean, it's just I would think that as a coach, if the other kids see you being harder on your son than you are on anyone else, and that's something, I guess. But it's still tough.
It is very tough. My stepson played for me his
right.
junior year and senior year, and it's tough because like you said, I was probably unfairly tough on
right.
him. He didn't start his junior year. He should have. He was certainly one of our best 5, but I didn't start him because. I felt like, number one, I felt like we needed to spark off the bench. And number two, I just felt like I wanted to send a message to our other players that, he needed to earn it. As soon as he made a mistake, he sat down on the bench. Everything was like he had to be at another level, not only because he was, my son, but because I wanted to hold him to a higher standard. And it was frustrating for him, but also I thought it did raise his level of play. He had a different understanding of the game, but the great thing about being a coach's son, and that's why I always hold coaches' sons to a higher level, you could trust them when the game's on the line.
Right.
So when the game's on the line, he was always in the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when the game was on the line, no matter what grade he was in or what the score was, he was always in the game, and that's the great thing because you could trust him. So, but I know sometimes it gets tough, but that's the great thing, but I know it gets tough sometimes on both sides.
Right. And you mentioned it. I mean, what's that dynamic? Once you leave the gym, it's still basketball. I mean, you don't leave it. You don't leave it at the gym.
No, basketball in our house from the months of about November to now become mid-March. It is about 24/7 basketball. And honestly, my mom has become more of a basketball fan than she probably ever thought she would because she's watching film at the living room every night instead of what she probably wants to watch. So she knows basketball just as well as, honestly, we do at this point. So it's fun to talk with the whole family.
Right. Now, Ben coaches you guys in the summer circuit too. I mean, at least he did. I don't know if he still does. I mean, what's Dad, the AAU coach, like compared to Dad, the high school coach? Is there a different dynamic there?
Kind of. A little bit more relaxed because, there isn't much pressure. It's just AAU is more about skill development than really wins and losses. So definitely still, he's coaching principles are the exact same, sticks to it. But, it's a little bit more relaxed.
And we talked about this when Kalen was in here. That AAU thing is, I mean, that is... it's like probably a more valuable piece in the recruiting puzzle at this point than what high school basketball is, and that ain't going to change anytime soon, I don't suspect.
Well, and I like the fact, Lowen, that you talked about skill development when you talk about AAU because so much now that gets lost. So the fact that people still use it that way is encouraging because really that's the core of it. That's the fundamental value for AAU is develop skill. And if more young people got into it for that reason, we'll have more quality basketball for players because when you got good coaches coaching AAU basketball, and I love to see coaches that coach their high school teams go out in that AAU circuit and still coaching during that AAU circuit because it not only it refines their coaching during the year, but it also helps some young players get better at skill development. So it works both sides, but so many times those things can go wrong. But we've seen both sides of that, the good and the bad, but mostly good for AAU stuff.
Right. Like I said, Ben and I used to play at the park in Hayesville all the time, and I'm sure that we came up at a time before the rise of AAU basketball, and that's just how
infancy when we were.
Yeah, that's just how we did it. We played against the older guys, and they beat the brakes off of us until we could finally figure out a way to beat. I mean, there's some value to that too, right?
Absolutely, and you just have to play until you learn by getting pushed around until you get tougher. You know what I mean? And that was pretty much how, we learned. You do a move, you kick the ball around until you become a better ball handler.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's but the volume of games though, and that's to me, that's where AAU now has so much value for young players. They play so much. And that's why we talked about young players being so good so early.
Right.
They play so many games. A ninth grader now coming into high school has played so many games.
Right.
When you and I were in middle school, we barely kicked, we had barely really knew how to dribble 5 times in a row.
Right.
Coming into middle school. These kids can dribble between their legs and all of that stuff. So that's the value of playing AAU is the volume of games that they get, and they can get better younger, and they can just grow, and then they can start thinking the game.
Right.
Like like Lowen talked, they can start thinking the game at a younger age.
What's your summer schedule? I mean, how many games do you play in a summer?
So last 2 years it's been a lot. We play around 60 games. Now
It's more than I played in my career.
34 of those games are at the Huggins camp, which is wild.
Wow.
You go down there to basically a farm. There's 20 courts, about 10 outside, 10 inside.
Okay.
And you're playing no refs, call your own fouls. You're getting banged up, and it's pretty tough.
So that's
It's
pretty
fun.
much how we grew up.
Yeah, love it.
Let's turn the back here to your freshman year. I mean, Hillsdale last year. I mean, you guys you won a district championship for the first time since '01, I think it was. You were an All-Ohio honorable mention. You averaged 11 points. Did you ever imagine in your wildest dreams that you would come in and have that kind of an impact that early in your career?
Honestly, no. I did not think that. I thought I'd be more of a distributor, but I think it just kind of fell kind of how it happened, and I was super grateful for that because it was a huge stepping stone from where I am now. That really helped my confidence and about everything about my game, so that was a lot for me.
Right. And, fast forward to this year, you're averaging 17.3, I think, points a game. It's, 5.2 assists. How have you evolved, I guess, as a player from last year to this year? I mean, is it slowing down for you a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. My freshman year, my first couple games, it felt like it was the fastest paced game I've ever played in. Didn't really know what was going on. Kids were bumping me off my spots. I couldn't really get there. So my freshman year, I kind of wrote some notes on what I did bad. Couldn't get to my spots. Game was fast. I think this year, just be able to get on the court to where I want to, and then the game slowed down so much where I can just see the court a lot better. So,
Coach, I didn't take a lot of notes after my freshman year. That's that's heady stuff. I mean, we're talking about, and that's just, I think, the evolution of the game is that way too. It's just that's where we are.
Well, and that's a credit, number one, to Lowen. Even some of the best players aren't, taking notes and getting improvement. That self-improvement, understanding where you need to improve, and doing the job. I can't imagine, averaging 17 points a game as a 10th grader, 5 assists, leading your team to now a state Final Four. That is just an unbelievable achievement. But when listening to your journey and how you look at yourself and how you are able to I'm listening to you mark time and how you talk about how you analyze games and how you thought things through. I'm like, okay, this is what success is to a young man who's able to think the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So success comes in a lot of different ways. We were talking off air about some players who are super athletic.
Right.
And their success comes through athleticism. They'll be able to fly through the air and dunk the ball and do thousands of different things. Some players have a mix. Some players have great athleticism, shooting ability, but they also can think the game. So their future is limitless, and that's why I really enjoy watching great point guard play.
Right.
You know what I mean? I really enjoy watching that.
So you guys get off to a late start again this year. The football team reached the state championship game for a second year in a row. That game was played on the 6th of December. You open your season on the 14th of December.
Yeah.
It's a loss. I mean, it's a conference game. It's a loss at Waynedale, I think. Where are you guys at? I mean, is it frustrating given that you had so much talent coming back off last year's district championship basketball team to open up and lose, or do you feel these guys just got to get their basketball legs underneath them?
So a little bit of both
Yeah.
feelings, honestly, because that's so frustrating. A team that you should beat,
Right.
then and it's a league game, but also that isn't going to be our team come playoff time. So you kind of got to take the good with the bad. And, football had a great run, but then, he gets kind of disappointed on the basketball end. So I knew it was going to be rough, but as long as we stayed together and we knew the long-term goal, and that wasn't the long-term goal of that game. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. You guys, I think, 2-2 to start the season. They're all conference games. Then you go on a trip to Florida. You get down there, and things seem to kind of click. I mean, I wasn't there,
Yeah.
but just watching those games on television, it seemed like things came together for you guys when you were down there. You win 2 games. You play a team 3 times your size in the championship game of that tournament, and you compete with them. I mean, do you where'd that? I mean, I would imagine that gave you guys some confidence coming back to Ohio.
Oh, yeah. Those teams down there were about 10 times more athletic than the teams you see up here. So that really showed us, hey, we can play with anybody. And that gave us confidence going into this season. Hey, we can play up to this standard,
Right.
and this is the type of team that we're capable of being. Now we just have to make that consistent.
Right. So you get home, you win 4 in a row, and one of those is a win at Norwayne. And if I don't know, you probably don't follow Wayne County League basketball real closely, but Norwayne hadn't lost a home Wayne County League game since 2020.
Wow.
You had 30-some points that night, 31, 30. I get conflicting reports, but I think it was 31. Anyhow, I mean, tell us about that night. That had to be man. I mean, just take us through that one.
Yeah, playing in that arena, it's crazy. They have great fans. That environment it's fun to play at, and we knew that'd be tough. They have a great coaching staff, a great head coach, and he could have not the best talent, but he will have an extremely good game plan, and their kids are going to play harder than you've played versus any team. So that win in there was probably best regular season win we've had this season, and that was great.
Yeah. So you guys end up finishing 3rd in the Wayne County League. You guys swept Norwayne. You beat them at your place too. I got swept by Smithville, who won the league, and you lost 2 games to Wayne. I mean, it's 3rd place. I mean, what did you guys think about that? I mean, was that disappointing? Was it frustrating? I mean,
definitely disappointing and frustrating. Losing to Waynedale, a team that we swept Norwayne, and Norwayne sweeps Waynedale, so we know we should have beat Waynedale. But overall, we figured that the playoffs are more important, so we had to flip the page. And there was many times this season where, that first game to Waynedale, the one game at Smithville where we got blown out, and then the game at home versus Waynedale where we probably could have just thrown in the white flag on the season.
Sure.
Said, hey, this isn't our year. Let's regroup next year and throw the season away. But I think that's where the biggest turning point was. We could have either fell off the ledge or kept going, and I think we decided that day after the Smithville loss, hey, this isn't the team we want to be, so we're going to work hard and get back on track.
and now you guys have won 10 in a row, and that includes the tournament victories, the win over Heartland. Are you playing the way that you thought you would play all season long now?
Definitely. This is the last 3 games we've been, according to Max Prep's rankings, we've been the underdog in all 3 of those games. But we didn't feel like we were the underdog in any of those games. We knew we haven't played like we have been capable of, so we knew we weren't the underdogs in those games. So the last 3 games have definitely been what we've wanted to play like.
Yeah, and we talked briefly about it the other night. I mean, what did last year's regional appearance mean for you in terms of what happened this year? I mean, you gotta get there and you gotta experience it, I think.
Yeah, well, last year was tough. You play the all-time Ohio League scorer in Quinn, and that was a great experience. I'll remember that for as long as I live. Honestly, that'll be a story that I tell my kids. But definitely getting there and just experiencing that feel. I feel like we were all very nervous for that regional semi game last year. It just didn't go as how he's planned, but feeling that gym, feeling the feeling, that definitely helped going into this year.
And Effie and I have talked about it at length. I mean, there's a process to winning, and you got to get there. And sometimes you have to fall on your sword, and then before you learn how to win those games.
Right, and I think you said it correctly. Sometimes you have to learn how to win those games, and a a big part of learning to win those games is coming up short in other games. So when you think, Lowen, about this season, did some of those losses that you guys took, and especially in league play, do you feel like some of those losses kind of prepared you for the run that you're on now, or did it kind of give you guys motivation to stay more focused? Was it lack of focus, did you think?
100%. That gave us then, and we found out, we looked back at those games and figured out what we did wrong, and we knew to never do those things again. And I think that helped us. If we would have went all season and won the games that we were supposed to win, lose the games that we were supposed to lose, I don't think we'd go on this run. Because then we're kind of like, all right, yeah, we're going to go on this run, don't really take it too seriously, and we get beat by a team that we shouldn't have. But I think those losses, that motivated us never to do that again. So definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Now you're listed in the program at 5'6". I was an undersized point guard. You probably coached the greatest undersized guard in city history in Keon Johnson. Zach, if you ever get a chance and you're bored, YouTube Keon Johnson, Winthrop, Illinois, and it's from Keon's. I mean, Keon went to Winthrop, which is a Division I school. He scored 2,000. All he did there was score 2,000 points for a Division I school, and Keon was listed at 5'8", and he was not 5'8". I mean, I guess my point is it's a big man's game, but there's still a path forward for guys, smaller guys like us.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that the game itself, size in basketball, I'm not going to say it's overrated, because clearly it's not, but I will say that guard play it's the engine for basketball, and you have good guard play. That's the difference to me in winning and losing, especially at tournament time. Because your guards are going to set the tempo. Your guards are going to really get you in your spacing defensively. They're going to set the tone. So guard play to me means everything. And when you're a guard, it really doesn't matter what size you are. And I've learned that, like you said, not only coaching Keon, but I've coached a lot of small guards. I've coached a lot of long guards. And to me, their skill level has been ranged from great to good to poor on all sides. But I do know that for my money, you give me a smaller guard that's a thinker,
right,
I'll take them. I will take them over a lot of taller guards with a lot more skill. You give me a smaller guard that's a thinker, I'll take them.
Yeah, people always used to say, "Oh, could you imagine what Keon could do if he was 6 foot tall?" I would say, "Could you imagine what he could do if he was 5'9"? I mean, he was just like a force that I've never seen anything like that. And he was a heady kid too.
And that's the thing, because he wasn't very vocal.
Right.
People thought that he wasn't, but the kid understood basketball. He understood spots on the floor. He understood release points. That was his thing. And people understood how can he get the ball off. He got more paint points than probably any of our post guys, but because he understood how to release the ball, and he's a basketball mind, and that's what I mean about being able to think the game.
Yeah. Now, in 2 seasons, you've scored about 750, 751, I think, is what your dad sent me.
Wow, that's awesome.
You're pretty good chance you're going to become Hillsdale's all-time scoring leader. Is that something that's even on the radar yet? Do you think much about that?
That stuff always creeps in the back of your mind when talking about that. But the wins and losses, that part of the game is so much more important. And I know if you start winning, those records will come. So really just you got to think about winning and put in work in the offseason, and then those records start to appear after you graduate.
Yeah, tournament wins mean more games and more opportunities to score points.
Not great at math, but yes.
Right.
So looking ahead to the state semifinals, you guys play Kalida. Comes into the tournament. They're 16-11, more losses than you guys. You guys have 7 losses, something like that. They beat Montpelier 66-53 at Bowling Green on Saturday. Now, Kalida's top player is a kid named Owen Grime, I believe, is a sophomore, and I understand you have a little bit of history with him there, huh? Tell us about that.
So the other last spring over in Fort Wayne, Indiana, we went to a bigger tournament over there, and we made it to the semifinals, and we played Northwest Ohio. And there was this kid who he was good, probably one of the best players I played last spring, and maybe best player I've played at my age level my whole life. And it wasn't that he was overly fast. He just knew like what to do, when to do it. And he's smart about the game. So he ended up beating us by 2 points, and he ended up having about 30 points, and me and him were going back and forth. It was a fun game, so I'm definitely excited to see him again.
Yeah, it's funny how those things kind of work themselves out.
Right, right.
And you guys, I mean, your focus is where it should be, and with good reason. But, I mean, if you know what could potentially be waiting for you in a game beyond that, there's a team called Delphos St. John's, and it's another one of those teams from the mighty Midwest Athletic Conference in Western Ohio. They're 27-0. They got a kid who's a Mr. Basketball candidate and a Mr. Basketball finalist, Cam Elwer. He's going to a Division I school. He passed LeBron James recently on the career scoring lists. I think 2,700 points, something like that. Is it exciting to potentially get a chance to take a? I mean, if you're gonna be the best, you got to beat them, and to take a swing at that, it would probably be pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to think about playing that talent D1 and that good. People say they're possibly one of the better teams in Ohio,
regardless of division.
Yeah, and being at D7, it's tough, but definitely taking Kalida first, and that's going to be a tough game. They're a really good team, but if we were fortunate enough to get past Kalida, that'd be a super cool game just to feel how one of those type of teams would play.
And we spend a lot of time talking about football, and in football, the better team normally wins. There's a reason that Hoosier still resonates with people.
Sure.
I think upsets are a lot more likely in basketball than they are in football, I think, and it seems to me. I mean, that's why nobody gets a perfect bracket, because it's in the tournament. I mean, there's a path for an underdog for sure.
Yeah, strategy matters a lot in basketball, and nobody's immune from a bad shooting night.
Right.
No one. And that's the great thing about especially high school basketball, man. It's you could have the best team, you could have a better team, and it's all about who plays best on a given night. It especially at this point in the tournament, it doesn't matter who. And this is what I tried to tell my teams when we got in the tournament, especially when we were, probably the underdog.
Right.
It doesn't matter who's the better team. All we have to do is play better tonight.
Right.
On both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively, and in transition, we have to play better. And if we can do that, we move on. And that's what matters in the tournament. And if more teams understood that, I think we even see more, and that's why we see upsets. And if more teams understood that, I think we'll see even more upsets in the tournament.
Right. Have you allowed yourself to think about what it might be to hoist a championship trophy on Saturday inside the UD arena?
Yeah, I've thought about that a few times, but it's already cool what we've done, but now you just I'll think about that after the season, how cool this run's been, but right now it's been all about Kalida. I can't go anywhere without thinking about that game, so definitely super excited for that.
Right. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up here for us. But before we let you go, we always like to do the 2-minute drill with kids. We'll throw some questions at you, and buddy, you're gonna get quizzed on Hillsdale basketball because you and I both know a little bit about it. Like we said earlier, you have 751 career points through your sophomore season. Likely to become the school scoring leader. Who is the current scoring leader at Hillsdale High School?
Coach Pick, Eric Pickering.
That's right, Eric Pickering. He's a kid who played college football at AU, from what I if memory serves. He's on the high school football staff and the high school basketball staff. So, yeah. You're also the school's record holder for steals in a regular season. Do you know what former Hillsdale point guard held the record for steals in a season and steals in a game when he graduated in 1991?
I want to say Joey Brightbill.
Nope.
Maybe Mike?
Let me give you a hint. You're sitting in the room with him.
Oh, really?
It's me.
Oh, really?
He started looking around the room.
Right. Yeah. Which one of you clowns did? No, I had 9 steals in a game and I believe 69 in my high school in my senior year. So it was 3 a game.
How about that?
Yeah, I think Joey Brightbill, I think broke the single season record after me, and then you broke, I think, Joey's record. Speaking of that 2001 team, Joey led them to an undefeated season. They got to the Division III regional tournament, and they lost. Do you know who they lost to?
St. Vincent St. Mary.
That's right. They had a kid on that team named LeBron James, and somehow 25 years later, he's still playing in the NBA.
His career turned out all right.
Yeah, it turned out okay. Do you know, perhaps, and there's a tie-in here, who was the coach of that 2001 Hillsdale team?
David Honecker.
That's right, Dave. And Dave is the grandfather of Cale and Knox Lewis, who were Hillsdale's junior forward combo. And last one here. Who would the state championship mean more to, you or your dad?
Oh, geez, that's tough. I like to say me, but honestly, I think my dad he loves coaching so much. I honestly think it'd mean more to him.
I think you're probably right. I've known your dad for a long time, and he is single-minded when it comes to that. So I think that's going to do it here. We certainly appreciate Lowen for coming by, and we'd like to wish Hillsdale the best of luck on Friday and Saturday. Go down there and bring one home for us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks for listening.